Is Khaby the king of TikTok, losing his charm?
So I'm scrolling down YouTube and I see a video titled "Why Everybody Hates Khaby." I said, what did bro do?
Khaby Lame's comment section has gotten pretty brutal lately. I haven't seen Khaby Lame on my FYP since 2019. I'm so confused. What's so entertaining about this? Fall off is crazy. Your time is over, bro. All of these have started appearing under nearly every single upload he's posted in the last few months, and it's honestly wild watching this happen to the same guy who was once crowned the most followed person on the entire platform. Because right now people are openly asking, why did we even make him the most followed person on TikTok in the first place? His own fans are starting to feel embarrassed for ever supporting him. So today, we're going all the way back to the beginning to figure out exactly how Khaby Lame's career actually died. Khaby Lame was born in Senegal on March 9th, 2000. Just a year later, his family packed up and moved to Italy, settling in a poor area just outside Turin. So this wasn't some rich kid with connections. This was a guy who grew up with real financial struggle and basically zero opportunities handed to him. After finishing school, he ended up working as a CNC machine operator in a factory just to help support his family. A proper 9-to-5 grind, nothing glamorous about it. And that probably would have been his whole life if COVID hadn't hit, because in March 2020, he got laid off and suddenly found himself sitting at home with absolutely nothing to do. That's the exact moment he decided to start posting on TikTok. His first month on the app, he pulled in a grand total of 9 views and 2 followers.
1 month, I got 9 views and 2 subscribers,
which by the end of that same month had only crawled up to around 4,300. And honestly, that's about as unremarkable a start as you can get, especially when you find out he was posting 6 or 7 videos a day just to get that number. His early content was mostly dancing and short comedy skits, and while they did decently, there was one massive problem holding him back. Khaby only spoke Italian, so his comment sections were full of people saying, "I don't understand what he's saying. Someone translate this, please. I love your videos, but can you do them in English?" So instead of fighting the language barrier, Khaby just removed language from the equation entirely. He stopped talking altogether and let his face and his hands do all the work.
it's simple and easy.
The real breakthrough came on April 8th, 2021, when he reacted to a ridiculous, overcomplicated life hack video, and it went viral overnight, pulling in over 200 million views and 32 million likes off one single video. He immediately followed it up with more videos using the exact same formula, each one pulling at least 30 million views on its own. In less than 2 months, he added over 50 million followers, a number most creators will never touch in their entire lifetime. By the time he hit 1 million followers on February 22nd, it had already ballooned to 50 million just by May 23rd of that same year. Soccer players were copying his signature shrug celebration. People were calling him the wisest man to ever live because he says so much without saying anything. And the brand deals started rolling in fast. By August 2021, he was working with Italy's biggest soccer club, and just months after that, he signed a multi-year deal with Hugo Boss.
I'm the boss.
But right as he crossed the 100 million follower mark in August 2021, old clips of him resurfaced showing him mocking people for their appearance. And that's when the body shaming accusations started. I can't believe I even followed him. Body shaming is so disgusting. That's so rude, I can't believe he'd do that. Entire accounts dedicated to canceling Khaby started popping up overnight. And if that wasn't messy enough, Khaby then found himself in an even stranger controversy. He posted a simple Instagram story that just said, "Say no to racism," followed by a video of him helping a white person pull a sword out of the ground, captioned, "In a racist society, it's not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist." And somehow this is the post that turned a chunk of his own audience against him. I'm seeing a lot of comments where people say, "I unfollowed you because you did this video." I don't mind, guys. We're almost in 2022 and people still use racism because they have nothing else to do with their life. You can also unfollow me. I don't care about the numbers, I care about your hearts. Underneath all of this was the real storm brewing. Charli D'Amelio was still the most followed person on TikTok at the time, but Khaby was closing in fast, only about 4 million followers behind her, and losing that title suddenly became a real possibility for her, which kicked off a full-blown war between the two fan bases.
Might actually end up beating Khaby Lame after all. Now, since being surpassed, Charli has not been able to take the top spot again. Recently, Khaby has been dropping followers like crazy,
because becoming number 1 didn't feel like a victory to the people watching. It felt like the punchline to a joke nobody remembers finding funny in the first place. Once Khaby actually became the most followed person on TikTok, he did something nobody expected. He basically disappeared. No celebration post, no thank you to the fans, nothing acknowledging the milestone at all, and going from 6 or 7 uploads a day to maybe once or twice a week made people start noticing real fast. Bro disappeared from my FYP after he became the most followed on TikTok ever. He's basically done nothing since becoming number 1. He never even made a video celebrating it. Instead, Khaby started openly saying, "I want to make films. This is my main objective. I've wanted to make movies since I was a child," which honestly came off like he thought he was above the very platform and audience that made him. And he actually followed through on it, landing a cameo in the Will Smith movie Bad Boys, Ride or Die, popping up in Coming to America as well, and picking up a seat as a judge on the 13th season of Italia's Got Talent, sharing a red carpet with some of the biggest names in pop culture along the way. So you could tell TikTok was no longer the main focus. These appearances started looking less like side projects and more like him quietly building an exit plan off the platform that made him famous. And with with his own feature film reportedly in the works too, that childhood dream was finally turning real. And when he did bother posting on TikTok, it was almost always an ad. Airbnb, Hugo Boss, Facebook, one promotion after another. Disrespecting the people who made you famous with nonstop ads is a fast way to lose whatever goodwill you had left. It used to be so famous. How did bro get forgotten? Around this same period, people also started admitting something they'd apparently been sitting on for years, that his content simply never evolved. As far back as 2021, people were already saying, it's the same thing every single time. I know exactly what's going to happen in these videos. Honestly, his videos were funny at first, but the joke got old after a while. And now, here we are 3 or 4 years later, and the joke still hasn't changed. 90% of his TikToks are low effort. He has a few quality videos, but that's it. He shouldn't deserve the recognition he's got right now. And without knowing his backstory, plenty of people started looking at Khaby the exact same way. A guy pulling in an estimated $750,000 a post for holding his hands out in a 20-second clip. While all of this was going on publicly, Khaby was apparently living a completely separate life behind the scenes. Because around 2020, he was dating an Italian Instagram influencer named Zara Nussi. They were together from 2020 all the way to 2023 before quietly breaking up, and barely anyone even clocked it happening because Khaby never talks about anything on camera. In November 2023, he then turned around and secretly married a model from South Africa and Denmark. And I mean genuinely secret. Almost no pictures, no announcement, nobody outside his circle even knew this relationship existed until the wedding was already done. And then just 7 months later, in May 2024, it was over. His manager came out and gave the classic breakup line. Personality clashes, they weren't compatible, they disagreed on a lot of things, so they separated. Which on its own is already a rough look for a guy trying to rebuild his public image. Marrying and divorcing inside less than a year, while your fan base is already questioning what you actually bring to the table. Then in 2026, it came out that the two of them had quietly been dragging this thing through divorce court the entire time.
Twist is definitely something that we did not see coming from a mile away. So recently, Khaby Lame's wife, Wendy, initiated a divorce, and as usual, she was demanding half of his money and his assets. Now, if you remember, as of early this year, 2026, Khaby Lame sold his core company, which is valued around $975 million. That is almost $1 billion. Scott and his wife found out that Khaby Lame was worth $0. All of his money and every single one of his assets was registered under his father's name.
So on paper, Khaby owns nothing while somehow controlling everything. And the reports say the court determined it was actually his ex-wife holding around $10 million in her name that would need to be split. This flipped the whole divorce narrative on its head. Though it's worth saying some of the later updates suggest she may have backed out of finalizing things once that came to light. So this part is still murky and worth taking with a grain of salt until more solid reporting comes out. And as if a secret marriage, a 7-month divorce, and an asset hiding scandal wasn't enough for one comeback arc, Khaby then made headlines for a completely different reason. Reports surfaced that he was picked up by immigration officials at Las Vegas airport on June 6th after allegedly overstaying his visa following a trip into the country.
So you actually played a role in that deportation?
Yes, I had some buddies who worked closely with him. He admitted that he was in the country illegally on an expired visa and entered the country like 49 times.
He was granted what's called voluntary departure, meaning he left on his own terms instead of getting a deportation stamp attached to his name. So tie all of that together with everything from before, the Charlie rivalry, the body shaming and racism backlash, the disappearing act after hitting #1, the endless unchanged content, the ad overload, and now stack a secret marriage that lasted 7 months, an alleged asset hiding scandal, and a visa overstay that got him escorted out of the country, and it stops looking like one bad year and starts looking like a genuine unraveling. And the numbers back it up too. Since August 2024, his account has been bleeding followers almost every single month. So it's worth noting, most of that specific hate is coming from American audiences, while fans in other parts of the world are still showing him love. Some people also argue this isn't really about anything he's done wrong at all. It's jealousy dressed up as accountability. A factory worker from Senegal who built a fortune from nothing is always going to attract people who want to see him fall just because he made it. And even now, with all of this stacked against him, Khaby still sits on over 160 million followers and is still landing deals. So maybe this was never really a death. Maybe it's just what happens to anyone the internet decides it's done pretending to love. Want to see more of such weekly videos? Subscribe and let's unpack our celebrity